It's snowing hard in the Caribou. Told you so, Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel, let's go. There it is. This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on!
Wow. I'll watch the video later.
Keep on going to the water.
They dry mop in this. Got numerous bands of snow moving through right now. Looks like 97 North is once again in the middle of a thick one. Up by Bear Lake, just south of Summit Lake, getting snowed on real hard. Upper Fraser, seeing a little bit of snow right now. Chief Lake, seeing some snow. This will all change because these things will keep moving. In fact, if you want, we can push play and make it move and get you an idea of the flow of it. And also in the South Caribou, we just seen a big heavy band go through Quesnel, and people reporting their heavy snow in Quesnel. Now, it kind of looks to me like it's got a little bit of a, and you can see how it's riding down. What's happening is it's coming into contact with the cold air that's sitting on the other side of the Rockies right now. It's got this moisture moving into the province, but it's hitting that cold air and it's got nowhere to go, so it has to fall because cold air cannot hold moisture. So it turns into snowflakes and falls. So as we can see, that's what's going on right now. Got the general motion. Kearsley seeing some snow. People reporting to me out in Mount Polly that there's snow going on likely right now. Maybe a little bit of it almost coming into Williams Lake. So we'll see if that pushes any further south or not. So you can see there's a strong storm out here in the Pacific. We got this embedded upper level low sitting just in the Gulf of Alaska there, and that upper level low is sending moisture in, and its moisture is hitting the cold contact here along the edge of the mountains. It can't go any further. It can't push, it can't force it in, it can't move it, so it's just hitting the edge of it and sliding on down and falling as snow. And that's why we have this snowfall right now, a sense of the motion of it over the last hour, how it's moved. Some of it's went into Prince George, definitely Summit Lake, Chief Lake. Did see some heavy squalls at one point on 97 between Prince George and Quesnel, right? So some of those areas, if you're traveling up 97 tonight, anywhere on Highway 97, if you're going down Highway 16, either direction as well, you're in for a messy, maybe dangerous situation. So take care out there on the highways tonight. And when we look out on satellite, we can see that motion, and we can see that some of those areas that we don't have radar contact in are probably seeing snow too, like up through Williston, Mackenzie, perhaps. Maybe not all of Williston, maybe the north end of it's okay. Maybe a little bit of flurries happening over in the Peace area. But again, you have those colder temperatures, and we'll just have a look at those colder temperatures, So we're sitting at 1 degree over at Utsa Lake, down where Hilding is. And if you go over to the Peace, sitting right now at Mackenzie at 10, 14 at Chetwynd. Still chilly here in Wells. It's minus 5.5 right now. I know it'll drop further. We'll look at my temperatures in a minute. But you can see where that cold air is more or less sitting on this contact point, and that's where our storm that's out there is not able to push any further in. And so it's sending all of its moisture into BC down that slope. People were asking about wind speed forecasts yesterday. What do you expect for wind speeds? And what I will tell you when you're looking at one of these graphs is when you see these isobars are getting tight, you can expect, and this is a low, so the winds are going to track up along the edge of the low. So you can expect that the strongest chance of winds will be where these isobars are having the tightest gradient. So looking in the north right now, maybe that's where it's acting like a winter storm right now. It's snowing very hard in Wells at the moment, but it's not blowing and blasting like maybe it could. And the thing is, this is round one of many coming. The north is going to see a lot of snow over the next bunch of days. It's going to see a lot of snow. And you can see how the storm is tracking down against that. It's like the moisture is getting thrust in and it's meeting that cold and it just can't go anywhere else. So it's butting up against it and kind of sliding on down. We can imagine overnight tonight in the Caribou Mountains, we're going to see a lot of snow. Rocky Mountains, North Rockies looking pretty good for snow. Maybe some of that snow will make it in time for the morning to Highway 1, Rogers Pass, and up through Alberta side. So be wary of that. Certainly you're going to be seeing heavy snow in Terrace. We got some crazy snow totals possible there. I think up to 50 centimeters is what it says on the warnings. It's a winter storm warning for them. We got a snowfall warning in effect for us in the Caribou, Prince George, and all these regions. We'll have one last look at that before we go. Caribou is probably going to see, even Quesnel, maybe see a little bit more of this tomorrow evening. This thing's going to try to push through, going to try to track in, and it's forcing itself. And the more it's pushing up against this boundary of high pressure and cold air, the more those gradients are getting tighter. So the more you're probably going to see a chance of stronger winds up and through there tomorrow, right? And you can see where the winds correspond on here to where the isobars are from that low pressure system, right? And the winds want to follow up that gradient, and they want to turn in just a little ways because of the Coriolis force. That's the force generated by the Earth's rotation. And it gives it just a little bit of a spin on these bigger. It makes the winds come just in a little bit off those isobars. But there's our bigger snow coming to Fort St. John. So that's good news for you that maybe you're going to see. Like, I've been really wondering, is this snow going to actually make it very far into there? And if it does, is it going to warm things up? So what I'm hoping to see for you guys into the weekend is that these extreme colds is going to get beaten back. I'm hoping that there's a bit of a forecast change for you a little bit there, that if you get this snow pushing in, but it's possible there's just so much moisture coming through and it's just going to bump into that cold air and fall, and it's going to make it a fair ways in to the cold air. And look at some of those temperatures Friday night, minus 29, Fort St. John, very, very cold, and you can see our next band of it. And what's happened is that big storm we had off here, it came in and it got kind of torn up on its way in, and it was quite low. And as it's trying to make its way in, it's just getting torn up, and it's getting like this sort of area of random lows swirling around each other there. And that may be because of their high pressure blocker, although it's really wonky right now, may be a delivery system next week for an atmospheric river event. So, and maybe sustain snowfall into northern BC. So that's what we're looking at for next week. But we will have another weekend forecast for you before all this comes, to look at some of this stuff ahead of time and get a better picture on what's coming next. But this should get you through the next 2 days, I think, and at least get you through tonight, where you could see at least 10 to 15 centimeters from Friday midday in some of these places, and closer to the mountains, much more. Like here in Wells, we're not going to see 15 centimeters. We're probably going to see 25 or something like that. But that's okay. We live in the mountains. We're used to that. So this is for Bulkley Valley, Williston, Stewart, Nechako, Prince George, McGregor, Caribou, Pine Pass, Yellowhead Highway, Tetuan, Cache, out to the Alberta border. This low pressure system over the Gulf of Alaska is bringing snow to the parts of the northern and central BC interior. That'll continue until Friday morning. Periods of light snow will transition to more consistent snowfall later tonight. Snowfall may be heavy at times on Thursday. The system will move out of the region Friday by midday. Ding! Right, and this is up by Stewart area, where a prolonged snowstorm could have 35 to 50 centimeters expected. So that's north coast, including inland at Stewart, right? So 20 centimeters already fallen since last night, and that will continue through tonight. Thursday, continue through Thursday as another approaching system moves onto the north coast. Further snowfall up to 30 centimeters expected by Thursday night. So that could be your 50 centimeters right there. Snowfall rates should ease off before morning on Friday. So it's going to last a little longer now than we maybe indicated yesterday. It may last through the night on Thursday for you, right? And much the same for the Pine Pass, much the same for into the Alberta border there. Look out. These are not stuff that you want to be driving through. But the good news for us in Wells, thanks Diggy's Diner for the weather station. Everyone have lunch at Diggy's Diner if you're in Wells here. Only 5.5 below right now. Not too bad necessarily. We were down to 13.9 below last night. So very, very cold. And you can see we had some very high pressure at one point. We're up to 1,011.85 hectopascals, and that is dropping here at the moment. Here's the group I run, Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers on Facebook, with almost 40,000 people. I just put a video out there, missing hiker last 5 weeks. Pretty tough kid, pretty brave kid, last 5 weeks out there. And I'm telling you from experience, because I've been stranded out there in the bush and had people drive by and wave while I'm trying to wave them down. And they just wave back and keep going. So for all we know, somebody wasn't paying attention. Some pictures of snowfall up on the Heart, thanks to Tabby O'Donnell. Man, it's coming down pretty good up there. Fast Eddie there from Quesnel. Oh, lovely. The sheep are doing good too. They don't mind the snow. But this is why we came to Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers to check, because we were just looking at my thermometer, which was because of CWOP. What's that? That's Citizen Weather Reporting. And that's because of Mark Ingalls hooking my station online to not... before, I was just on the Wonder Map on Wonderground, but now, and it's got me listed at 3,153 feet. That's cool. It gave me 50 more feet than I generally credit us with. So this reported in yesterday, the highest diurnal range in BC. What's diurnal? That's just the sun coming up and down, the heating from the sun coming up and down, diurnal range. So we saw a 16.7 degree temperature difference in Wells. That was the highest in BC yesterday. So that's pretty cool. We win. Answering a question where someone said, well, what about all the aluminum they're finding in the soil samples? That's because of the chemtrails, is it? Well, there's always a scientific explanation for things. So why would there be aluminum spikes in soil sampling? Well, one thing is weathering. Aluminum is released from rocks as they weather. but also acid deposition. That's acid rain and other acidic pollutants. They acidify the soil, and the soil itself has minerals in it. So when those minerals are dissolved, aluminum-containing minerals sometimes, then you're going to have higher readings of aluminum in the soil. What about industrial activities? Mining and smelting operations can release aluminum into the environment. What kind of factories are nearby? What kind of industry is nearby where you're taking your soil samples? Fertilizers and pesticides. Aluminum-containing fertilizers and pesticides can contribute to aluminum accumulation in soil. Also, land management practices. Some land management practices can increase aluminum levels in soil. This reminded me of why, as an artist, I learned to hate humanity. Seriously, America blaming Canada for drugs and guns. That is some grade A gaslighting, people. I remember back when we got our first car phone, everyone saying, well, make sure you have a GPS if you're going out hiking. Well, don't rely on your GPS too much. These guys in India just drove off a bridge and died because they were following their GPS. And I can think of stories like that from back home where some people drove into the Wooler Swamp, this woman did, just following her GPS, and it took her down this dirt path, and she just drove right into the Wooler Swamp there in Wooler, Ontario. It's a very big wetland area near the Trent River, and you wouldn't want to drive into it, but she did, and they had to come find her. I heard of a bus that went under an underpass in Pennsylvania, and it was too short for the underpass, but the GPS said go this way, so the bus driver did. And what would happen, too, is the bus drivers he'd been driving that route for like 20 years, but they made a rule in the company. They said, well, you have to follow the GPS for now on. You have to do what it says. Okay. So he drove under this underpass, and some people got killed. So don't just trust your GPS. You gotta use the tools properly for what you got. So I'm Joey on the Caribou Weather Dude. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the snowfall tonight and tomorrow through the Caribou. It's going to be a good one, I think. And hit like, share, subscribe. Join Patreon. Become a member of the channel if you can. Make a donation because I need to eat too this Christmas. Okay, we'll talk to you later, everybody. Bye now.